You wake up one morning and the dollar in your pocket, which yesterday was a contract said to be like gold, is today only a promise. And this change is not an ordinary piece of economic news. It is also the heart of the world's monetary order shifting out of place. So why did America abandon the idea of $1 equals this much gold? And more importantly, why does this decision still affect everything today, from inflation debates to the crypto craze? Come on, let's examine this together. The gold standard sounds very reassuring. The value of money is tied to something limited and tangible. If you want, bring your money and get gold in return. This puts a kind of belt on money. It prevents the state from printing money however it wants. But that same belt also prevents you from breathing in bad times. When the economy grows, when trade expands, when a crisis breaks out, the monetary system wants to be flexible. The gold standard is not flexible. That's why throughout history, even though the gold standard has always been described like an ideal, in practice it was frequently breached and suspended. And the ironic part is this: even when the dollar was tied to gold, the system was not actually fully tied. It only looked like it was. After World War II, the world was looking for stability. In 1944, the Bretton Woods system was established. So what did this system aim for? Other countries' currencies would be pegged to the dollar, and the dollar would be pegged to gold. The world was tied not directly to gold, but to the dollar. The dollar's convertibility into gold was the system's seal of trust. It was said that $35 equals 1 ounce of gold. Since the strongest production after the war was in the U.S., the dollar quickly became the reserve currency. Central banks held dollars, and trade flowed through the dollar. But inside this order, there was a bomb ticking like a clock. The more the world wanted dollars, the more dollars the U.S. needed to send to the world. Here the critical contradiction began. As the world grew, the need for reserves increased, and the name of this reserve was most often the dollar. The U.S. distributed dollars to the world through trade deficits, investment, military spending, foreign aid. But the hard rule of the gold standard was this: as dollars increased, the gold side that backed it was expected to remain just as solid. Yet the amount of gold could not keep up with the speed of the world economy. In that case, one single question came to people's minds. With the gold America has, can it really convert all the dollars in the world into gold? When trust is shaken, the system does not only experience a technical problem, it also experiences panic. And when panic begins, nobody talks about the logic of the system. Everyone runs to the vault. The 1960s widened this crack. The U.S. carried the cost of big social programs at home and the Vietnam War abroad. Printing dollars was easy. Producing gold was not. As Europe recovered, suspicions rose. Some countries started to test the system by wanting to convert the dollars they held into gold. On the one hand, the U.S. had to say the dollar is as safe as gold. On the other hand, it knew that if everyone wanted gold at the same time, it would not be sustainable. And right at that moment, a leader is left with two options. Either the system collapses or the rules change. In 1971, the pressure reached a critical level. Gold reserves were shrinking, dollars were multiplying abroad. On top of that, inflation concerns were added. The Nixon administration closed the gold window. Foreign central banks could no longer bring their dollars and demand gold. After that, what would be called the Nixon Shock happened. The last tangible guarantee behind the dollar was removed, and the world effectively moved to fiat money. So what was fiat money? It was money that derived its value not from gold, but from the power of the state and people's acceptance. This decision was not an arbitrary choice, it was the mathematics of the system hitting the wall. In other words, the system was as if slowly collapsing. So the dollar's break from gold was not an escape, it was also the price of the dollar's global throne. So what happened when the gold standard was abandoned? In the short term, uncertainty increased, exchange rates fluctuated more. In the 1970s, along with inflation and oil shocks, This association formed in people's minds: the gold standard is gone, inflation came. This connection was understandable, but it cannot be tied to this as the only reason. In the same period, there were also supply shocks, policy mistakes, wage price spirals. In the long term, the advantage of the new system was this: central banks became able to intervene faster in times of crisis. They could provide liquidity, keep the banking system alive. But there were also invisible costs. Flexibility also increases the risk of mismanagement. The money supply can swell, trust can be damaged, inflation can flare up. The gold standard was a lock. Fiat money is a steering wheel. The lock provides trust, the steering wheel is control itself. But control also makes mistakes possible. Now the main question: why did the dollar not stay tied to gold? Because the world economy grew, trade became massive, and gold, no matter how valuable, could not keep up with the monetary need of this growth. As the world demanded dollars, the U.S. had to produce more dollars. As dollars multiplied, the idea of full gold backing became unsustainable. Today, the money in your hand is not a coupon convertible into gold. It is a trust agreement. It relies on institutions, productive power, law, and people's belief that they will still accept this money tomorrow. And maybe the most striking truth is this: when the gold standard ended, gold did not lose, but money is now tied not to metal, but to trust. So do you think this is more solid or more dangerous? Write in the comments: should the gold standard come back? Because this question determines more things than you think. If this gave you a new perspective, don't forget to like the video and subscribe. History speaks. Those who listen win. Stay well.